When I was young, I thought the words impossible and infinite were expressions, made up words that we use when we're not sure. When I was young, my mom would tell me that she loved me as far as the east is from the west. And I would say, "How far is that, Mom?" Because I love you that much plus one. When I was young, I would stay up late each night counting the stars because I knew that one night I would finish. I planned trips to the ends of the earth and back, and I would often plan out how many languages I would learn. Meanwhile, I was developing my own language. I would visit every planet, paint pictures of the universe while sitting at the moon to bring them back home to my mom because, well, there's a better view from up there. And you couldn't tell me that one day I wouldn't be able to keep up with the red Honda Civic racing past me on my bike every day at 3:30. When I was young, I was a king of a Lego world, which was just practice for the future, because when I'm king, I'll be a great king. No one will be sad, no one will be hungry, and everyone will be best friends. Impossible was for people who were sad sometimes, and infinite was for people who weren't good at math, and I was neither of those. I mean, you can add up to any number as long as you have enough fingers, and well, I was only sad when my mom was sad. But when the doors slammed and the walls shook, I heard the words impossible. "Dad, where's Mom?" Impossible. "Stop hitting me." Impossible. "Don't leave me." Impossible. "You're a failure." Impossible. "Don't you get it?" Impossible. "Where did you get those scars?" Impossible. "Alone." Impossible. When I was young, I thought that the words impossible and infinite were expressions, made up words we use when we're not sure. Impossible was for people who were sad sometimes. Infinite was for people who weren't good at math. And I was neither of those. I mean, some numbers are just too high to count to if you think about it. And sadness, well, sadness isn't so bad. It's kind of like an old friend with a lot of memories. My mom would look at me and tell me she loved me as far as the east is from the west. And I looked at her and said, that can be really close or really far. Her smile faded with time. She would say, "You used to be able to measure that distance." And counting the stars had become a challenge because I couldn't remember where I left off. I know English, and I can pass Spanish, and then I'll be bilingual. I bought plenty of posters about the mysteries of outer space, well, because that's about as good as it gets. And I might give some to my mom. I plan on buying a motorcycle someday, well, so I can keep up. When I was young, I was a king. I was a great king. Nobody was sad, nobody was poor, and everybody was best friends. When the smiles faded and the tears fell, I heard the words impossible. Who am I? Impossible. I can't sleep. Impossible. It's too much. Impossible. I give up. Impossible. Suicide. Impossible. They would be better off. Impossible. I knew that the words impossible and infinite were expressions, made up words for us to remind us that there's always room for more. I look at my little brother and I tell him I love him as far as the east is from the west. He smiles back at me and says, "How far is that? Because I love you that much plus one." I look at him, and if he only knew how impossible that was. I'm 24, I speak English, and well, that's it. I have 4 years of credits and an unfinished degree in aerospace engineering. I like to perform poetry at any open mic I get the chance to. I've only traveled outside the United States once, and I thought that was Canada. I drive a white four-cylinder Mitsubishi Galant that gets mistaken for a taxi most of the time. Yet, I've seen the universe through the eyes of my 12-year-old brother. I've visited every country in the stories of the strangers I meet every day. I've painted the image of galaxy in the minds of crowds, and I've watched the world stand still, so I'm sure I'm the fastest. I'm a king, a great king, in a world where nobody is sad, nobody is hungry, and everyone is best friends. The words impossible and infinite are just expressions. Impossible is to remind us that there are miracles, and infinite is to remind us that it always gets better. I'm neither of these, well, because that's just impossible. That's it. Um,